It was my 28th birthday. I hadn't expected fireworks or a banquet, just maybe a hug. Maybe a simple, "We're proud of you." But those words were always reserved for my brother Jared, the one with the law degree and the polished shoes, who never forgot to remind me I was the failure who majored in photography. I showed up to the house with a carefully wrapped gift under my arm. It was for my parents. Yes, on my birthday. A framed portrait I had secretly taken last fall of our old family home, bathed in golden light. I spent weeks editing it, printing it on fine canvas, and custom framing it with the little money I earned from freelance shoots. I thought maybe they'd see I was trying. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. My mother opened the door. Her eyes scanned me top to bottom. "You wore that?" she said, not even a hello. "It's your birthday, not a garage sale." Dad barely looked up from the couch. Jared was already there, of course, seated like a king beside his new fiancée, Elise. She had that permanent smirk like she was trying not to laugh at me just breathing. I tried to brush it off. "I brought something," I said softly, holding up the wrapped gift. My mom took it like it was a bag of trash. "You brought us something?" She looked around. "Jared, look, your sister thinks she's Santa now." Everyone laughed. I forced a smile and quietly took my usual spot at the far end of the table next to the coat rack. The cake wasn't for me. It was Jared's favorite. Vanilla almond. They always said, "We don't want to make 2 cakes for the year. Just share." Even though we were born 10 months apart. I waited for them to acknowledge it. My birthday. My name. Anything. Then Mom stood up and said, "Before we eat, we want to toast to Jared and Elise's engagement." They all clapped. My fork trembled in my hand. Still nothing, no mention of me. No happy birthday. No card. I swallowed the lump in my throat and whispered, "Today's my birthday." Mom turned slowly. "And?" I blinked. "I just thought maybe you forgot." Jared snorted. "We didn't forget. We just had better things to celebrate." Then, as if on cue, my mother walked to the counter, picked up the gift I had wrapped, and, without opening it, threw it straight in the kitchen trash. "We don't have room for your little pity art in this house," she said coldly. "Grow up, Emma. You're almost 30 and still acting like you matter more than you do." Dad added, "You're the real disgrace in this family." The words landed like bricks. I stood. My chair scraped loudly behind me. My voice shook, but it didn't break. "You know what? You're right. I don't belong here. I never did. But today, thank you. You just gave me the clearest gift of all." They didn't stop me as I walked out. I left everything behind that night. My keys, my coat, even my shoes. I walked barefoot 2 blocks to my car in the cold. But in my chest, something burned. Not rage, not sadness, something sharper. Resolve. They thought that throwing my gift away would end the conversation, but they didn't realize I hadn't even started speaking yet. I don't remember how long I stood frozen after my parents called me the real disgrace. The laughter, the sound of torn wrapping paper hitting the trash can, the smear of frosting from the cake I never touched. It all blurred. My legs moved me to the door before my heart caught up. I walked out into the rain without a jacket. I wasn't crying, not then. I was just empty. I moved into a friend's guest room the next day. Dana, a girl I barely kept in touch with since college, didn't ask questions. She just handed me a key, a blanket, and said, "Stay until you can breathe again." It took weeks to breathe, months, actually. But something strange happened during those nights on her pull-out couch, surrounded by silence and a pile of unsent birthday cards from students I used to tutor. I started drawing again. Just pencil at first, then watercolors, then full-blown digital canvases. I didn't know what I was making, only that I was bleeding color onto paper. The sketches were messy, emotional. Mothers handing their children empty boxes, little girls staring into mirrors with cracks in the glass, a single candle burning alone in a dark room. I didn't show anyone at first, not even Dana, until she saw one left open on my laptop. She didn't say anything at first, just sat beside me quietly, then whispered, "You have to show people this. You have to." That night, she posted one anonymously on a subreddit called Rage Art. The comments exploded. "Whoever made this understands what it feels like to be invisible. This is what trauma looks like. Who is the artist? I need more." She told them my name was E. That was it. A week later, a curator messaged her asking if E had more work. I sent in 5 pieces. I got an offer for a digital showcase. By the end of the month, I had 30,000 followers. I was still teaching part-time, still struggling with rent, still eating leftover toast crusts and instant noodles. But something in me had changed. I wasn't trying to win my parents' approval anymore. I was letting the pain speak for itself. And people were listening? The turning point came when a woman named Dr. Alexis Rowan reached out. She ran a nonprofit gallery in Chicago that focused on artists from abusive or neglected families. She said, "Your work doesn't just hurt, it heals, and we want to help you heal more people." She flew me out, put me up in a hotel, gave me my first studio space. I launched my first exhibition in February. The title? Confetti and Silence. Every piece was drawn from my memories. My 9th birthday when Dad never came home. My 13th when my gift was a self-help book about emotional immaturity. My 21st when my cake was cut before I even entered the room. But the final piece? That was new. A watercolor of a woman holding her own gift in the rain. Alone. But smiling. Just barely. The exhibit went viral. People cried in the gallery. One woman said, "You painted my childhood." Another left a note. "I haven't spoken to my parents in 10 years. Thank you for reminding me I'm not broken." But the most unexpected response came through email, a name I hadn't seen in years. Mr. Halverson, my high school art teacher. He wrote, "I always knew you'd become something they couldn't take credit for." He attached a photo of an old sketch I gave him in senior year, a drawing of a girl holding a candle in a storm. Underneath it, he added, "Still burns." I wept for hours. By spring, I was earning enough to stop teaching. I started a mentorship program for young artists who grew up feeling unwanted. We called it Giftless, because not every child gets a gift, but every child is one. Then came the nomination. An anonymous recommendation for the Gold Brush Legacy Grant, a $500,000 endowment given to an artist who used personal trauma to uplift others. I was one of the finalists. The interview was live-streamed. They asked me where my inspiration came from. I looked straight at the camera and said, "From a gift thrown in the trash, and the girl who picked it back up." That line trended on social media. #gift in the trash, #birthday revenge. Guess who saw it? My mother. She called me for the first time in 2 years. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "We saw the video. You didn't have to paint us as monsters. You were always sensitive. But your father and I still love you, even if you don't remember it right." Then another. "Your brother wants to meet you. He's getting married, wants to reconcile." And a third. "There's going to be a dinner, just family. Come if you want to talk face to face." At first I deleted the messages. Then I paused. Not because I missed them, but because I realized my story wasn't finished yet. And I wasn't going back to apologize. I was going back to remind them what a real gift looks like. I didn't wear black to the family dinner. I wore red. Not bright red, not angry red. A deep, confident crimson, the color of quiet fire. The dinner was at the same house I grew up in. Same creaky floorboards, same chipped front steps my father never fixed, but it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like the final chapter of a book I'd outgrown. I walked in 15 minutes late. My mother's face stiffened when she saw me. Dad barely looked up from his phone. My brother Andrew, the golden boy with his polished shoes and fake empathy, stood up like he was the peacemaker. Hey, we're all here now," he smiled. "Let's eat like a family." Family. The word scraped against my skin. They had a spot for me. Unlike my birthday, I didn't sit. I stood behind the chair and looked at them in the eyes. "I'm not here to play pretend," I said calmly. "I didn't come to cry or forgive or relive anything. I came because someone here still thinks I owe them something. So let's be clear. This is the last conversation we will ever have." My mom scoffed. "You're still so theatrical." "Careful," I replied. "This actress is now funded by 3 galleries, and one of them is buying this moment as inspiration." Andrew put a hand on my shoulder. "I know you've had your issues." "No," I cut him off. "You had issues. I had consequences. You got applause. I got called a disgrace for wrapping a handmade gift. You mocked my art, my clothes, my voice, while I paid the price for staying soft in a house that only valued noise." I took a folder from my bag, dropped it on the table. They all stared. "What's this?" Dad asked finally. "Proof," I said, "of everything I've built. Every investment, every grant, every licensing contract, and proof that I bought this house 3 days ago." Silence. "You what?" My mother's voice cracked. "I bought it from Mr. Russo," I said, referring to their landlord. "He offered it to me when I mentioned I wanted to invest in a space that meant something, and now I own it. Every nail, every screw, every room." Dad stood up red-faced. "You can't do this." "Oh, but I can. You have 30 days to move out." Andrew looked stunned. "Where are they supposed to go?" "That's not my problem. I've spent 28 years solving problems that weren't mine." Mom's voice trembled. "You don't have to be cruel." "I'm not being cruel. I'm being fair. You taught me what cruelty was when you threw my only gift in the trash. This is what balance looks like." She reached for the folder. "You came here to humiliate us?" "No. That already happened the day you discarded me in front of a room full of people who clapped while I smiled through tears." I turned to leave, but paused at the door. "Oh, and the mural in the living room? You should cover it. It's called Disgrace Has a Voice. And yes, that little girl holding the broken gift, that's me." I walked out with no intention of looking back. 1 month later, the story made headlines. Artist evicts abusive family after viral success. The mural became a symbol. Galleries across the country wanted a replica. The image of that little girl with the torn gift in her lap, sitting in the corner while a golden boy blew out the candles, was printed on shirts, posters, and therapy pamphlets. I gave the original to a shelter for emotionally neglected teens. And the house? I turned it into a free studio space for kids who'd never received a birthday card in their lives. Its new name? The Disgrace Project. Because disgrace wasn't something I carried anymore. It was something I turned into art. And that, in the end, was the real gift, the one I gave myself.